Well, hello there, fellow Cougars. My name is David Shady. This assignment has asked me to discuss with you my experience in international business. Unfortunately, I have very little to no experience with international business. However, I do have quite an extensive background in travel throughout the world. So I was going to share that a little bit with you, and primarily in doing so, I thought I'd share with you a couple clips from my photo album. Okay, well, that was a little younger than I was aiming, but let's keep looking. In answer to your question, no, this hairdo never does go out of style. Here we go. Shortly after graduating high school, I decided to join the Navy. I usually tell people that I wanted to see the world, but truth be told, I was tired of my parents telling me what to do. So I went to boot camp. You can imagine how well that turned out for me. My time in the Navy allowed me to do considerable amount of traveling. I spent time in Europe, Mexico, Guam, Singapore, Saipan, Thailand, Fuji, multiple ports in the Middle East, and all over Australia. The actual locations are unimportant, but I did learn some valuable lessons along the way. One of my earliest travels found me in Würzburg, Germany. This was my first time out of the country, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. After a long day of sightseeing, I came to the realization that I needed to use the restroom. I went into a local bakery and I asked to use the restroom, and she clearly didn't understand what I was trying to say, so she nodded. So I repeated myself louder. This went on for a few minutes until we were both clearly agitated. It was at this point that I realized that volume cannot compensate for language barriers. Several years later, I spent several weeks in Singapore. Clearly a beautiful location with a pretty impressive mass transit system, clean streets, and good food. It was here I learned that we don't all have the same opinion about chewing gum. It is important to know a little bit about a location before you arrive. Importing chewing gum is actually illegal here. In Fiji, I learned the joys of swimming in the oceans of Fiji. Beautiful place. Unfortunately, I also learned the pains of doing it with jellyfish. In Thailand, I learned that we don't all spell need or poverty the same. There are many things that I have taken for granted living in the United States. I also learn what it's like to live in a place where bartering is the social norm. Certainly not anything that I ever grew up with. In Australia, I learned two things. Australians are probably the nicest people on the planet. Also, if you're not familiar with local customs, you can get yourself in hot water pretty quick. Local jargon or even hand signs can be perceived differently in different countries. And we also have very different definitions of the word football. Well, I've been to many places, but I've had very little business dealings with foreign countries, and quite honestly, being an employee of the federal government right now, that might land me in trouble if I were to attempt to do it at this point. Um, However, I will share with you my personal feelings on the matter. I am a big fan of keeping jobs in the United States. That being said, in today's economy, there are some circumstances where it is financially impractical to do so. In this case, I feel it is the responsibility to outsource as necessary, but while being socially responsible. I try to follow the general mantra in life that if I wouldn't be proud to show it to grandma, I probably shouldn't be doing it. I think also holds true of the effects of what we do. I think it'd be wonderful for all companies that are doing business on foreign soils if they did their best to make the world a better place while they're making money. In absence of that, though, I think that we at least owe it to ourselves not to make the world a worse place.